You're listening to the Suave Lover podcast with your hosts, Benjamin Ritter and James Amaro. SuaveLover.com, advising gentlemen on the art of romance. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode.
This should be a Machiavellian subversive podcast today that we're doing.
So James likes to date himself.
And by that you mean I like to take myself out to dinner, give myself some wine, maybe try to get lucky with me.
He's very intelligent.
But I play hard to get with myself.
He does. I mean, he tells me all the time. Turns the condom inside out so he feels like he's having sex with himself. Well, you ever try to roll a condom the wrong way?
And successfully, and that's what's really frustrating because it hurts like a fucking dick.
That's what I just use the water balloons.
That shouldn't happen. You hear about the spray condom? You're supposed to.
I did. I don't know. How stuff works.
Oh yeah.
It was just did a condom podcast.
Oh, cool.
All about condoms.
Wow.
And I started, like, you know that they have hieroglyphics of condom use, and that they were made with from turtle shells.
Turtle shells
and
seem like an excellent prophylactic.
Yeah, right. And so my assumption would be they weren't condoms; they were like adornments. They were like costumes, but they said they were condoms. And damn, that must have hurt. How do you get pleasure from a turtle shell? Well, anyways, the spray-on condom, but the scientist working on the spray-on condom, if you know about this or not, says that he's currently trying. It takes 5 seconds, I think, for the condom to actually dry.
Boy, that must be a long 5 seconds of
latex. Yeah, and it's loud. Okay. So he's trying to make it work within a second. Wait, was it minutes? No, maybe it was 5 minutes.
Ooh, gross!
No,
really?
It wasn't that long. It was long enough that I didn't think it was too long.
I can't even keep an erection for like half that time.
Yeah, so. I mean, unless there's a porn in the back or
chicken.
Or a cat.
Well, in that case, I got an erection all day.
No bestiality. It was actually pretty interesting because the person that created that actually supposedly created it because his stick was too small.
Oh.
You know that?
And no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He said that it was embarrassing going to the... Trojan discontinued their smaller condoms.
The small condoms are normal, and the extra magnum are just plain old gigantic, and it's all ego boosting.
So you can actually, this guy that created the spray-on condoms, I forget his name, he has a website that lets you print out a measuring tape to measure your penis, and then put it into his website, and then it'll give you, it's a German site, it'll give you German condoms that it will best fit your penis.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to talk about. Suppose you walk up to a beautiful and a strange woman.
And ask her to spray on latex your penis.
Before you even open your mouth.
Okay.
What's going on behind your eyes? What do you got on your mind? That's what I want to talk about.
Is she hot?
Let's suppose that she is impregnable quality hot. You want to knock that woman up, you'd be like, I would pay alimony for the one
breathes.
time. What?
She's breathing.
she's she's got most of her limbs.
Like one leg's fine.
That one leg is
okay.
She divorced a beetle.
Half her teeth. Maybe one eye. She doesn't need both.
Oh, it's horrible.
You ever have sex with a blind girl?
Oh, not that I know. Not when we started.
So you're talking about intention.
Intention. So you walk up and you have a certain intention.
Well, it depends.
Let's talk about the worst bad intention, the ones that hang us up. Because here's why. If you don't own your intention, if you don't believe what you're doing is any good, how is this going to end? It's going to end badly, I can tell you that right now. If you go in there with a fucking lousy plan, a lousy intention, if you go in and it's like an agenda, I can tell you it's going to be very hard for you to do anything other than have what I like to call hit and run socializing. You might be able to get someone to engage you for a minute. You might be able to do a few tricks to get them to pay some attention to you. But if your intention is to win them over or get them to notice you or demonstrate how awesome you are.
Because then you'd be like Professor Xavier and the X-Men. He's like, I will control you. So my epiphany.
Your epiphany.
My epiphany.
About intention and relationships.
About intention and relationships is the only way you can successfully have an interaction with someone else, if you have an intention or an agenda during that interaction, is if that person has the exact same intention or agenda as you.
You bet.
And how often does that happen?
Unfortunately, very rarely.
So you have to actually go into all your interactions without an agenda, evaluating the situation, the person, and everything that you want from them over and over and over again as new information comes in during that interaction, and instead of having an agenda before you go into the interaction.
The pickup guys are really good at this sort of idea. It's repeated in the community. I'll not attach to the outcome. Outcome independent. Well, what does that mean?
Well, okay, so outcome independent, right? So when I was in the pickup community still, and when I was going out, okay, let me reframe that. When I was going out to fuck bitches, right? I was not outcome dependent because I'd go in and meet everybody. And then but my ultimate goal was to have sex with someone I wanted to have sex with. But when I met someone that I wanted to have sex with, I didn't have that I want to take this girl home tonight agenda. I had, let's meet her, let's see where she's at in her life, let's see what her reality is, doesn't match mine. And it wasn't pressuring, it wasn't trying to force something, it wasn't trying to be, when you have an agenda, I feel like you really clash with the momentum of an interaction.
Completely.
And so instead of creating momentum and flowing with an interaction, you're trying to force an energy into an interaction that isn't there yet. And
it seems like you would not do that naturally, but you're told, again, if you're very pickup, you're like, control the frame. Well, it's one thing to say, look, I want to get to know this person, this girl, really pretty girl, and if she's really pretty and we're sexually compatible and I find out that she's more or less single, and by the way, single and available, these are a spectrum condition. I mean, there are a lot of people who are married and available. Yeah. MBA, I'm married but available. Yeah. So it's a spectrum. But the point is that if you go in with this sort of like, all I want is to make something happen, you have an agenda. It's probably not all that much of a hidden agenda because people can sense it pretty quickly. And it'll often blow up in your face. Whereas if you go in to say, look, I am a heterosexual male. I didn't choose to be. So when I'm out in the world and I meet someone who's pretty, my job as the male of the species is to go and initiate interactions to see where they'll go. And hey, you know what? If I meet a girl who's at that point in her life and I'm at that point in my life, things happen. Well, it doesn't mean that I got to notch the bedpost tonight, but if I like her, I'm going to make sure that she knows it and that I'm going to do everything I can to make myself sexually appealing so she knows that I'm interested in her. But this agenda nonsense, we go in and it's like, all right, this girl, from across the room, I've zeroed in, and from 30 minutes from now, I want her sucking my dick in the bathroom. And by the way, I don't think it's a straw man. I see people go in with this. How do I get these bitches? How do I get these bitches alive? All I get is very, very creeped out by the level of controlling.
So, what all I'm getting from what you're saying, and when I was trying to flesh this out in my head and how to best relate this to people that are listening. When you have an agenda, you don't care who the person is.
It's not personal. You care what the girl looks like.
Well, you don't care anything about them.
Nope.
So it's like you go into a job interview, and before you even know anything about the job, you just see the posting. You want that job, no matter what. You want that job. You're going to take that job. You're going to work every day of your life at that job. Doesn't matter what you find out about it.
Sure.
Doesn't make any sense.
Oh well.
And it comes off as needy.
It comes off as
desperate.
Needy. Yeah.
And
therein is the sense.
Yeah.
If you have a void, like if you have a real hole in your gut of meaninglessness and you just need some random girl to validate you, well, here's the problem. Here's where I think this becomes problematic. I'm very comfortable being single and promiscuous. I'm the sluttiest person you know. And those girls don't validate me. They don't construct my identity. The girls that I fool around with when I'm single are girls that I get to fool around with because I'm single, because I own my single state. So when I'm meeting a random girl, it's not that I want her to like me so that if she doesn't, I feel my being is shattered. I go out there and it's like, I'm expressing the fact that I'm fun and I'm single.
So your agenda, you're saying, if you have an agenda and your agenda doesn't get accomplished, what happens?
Okay.
I'm going out, I'm at the bar, I'm looking all fabulous.
As you can't help but to do with your dapper Ben self.
Oh, I'm so sexy. My left ball's a little bigger than my right, but I'm fucking sexy.
You're too sexy for this podcast, is what you are.
I'm too sexy for this podcast. Well, as I have an agenda, I'm going out into town tonight.
Yeah.
And all I want to do is fuck lots of bitches. Because that's the main agenda that we're talking about.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. In the sense that you're single, this is why I think it's subtle and it's interesting. Sex is always there. Being sexually interested in females is always there. You're heterosexual. Your agenda is not to fuck this random girl. That's creepy. Your agenda is when I meet a girl who I click with, and that's very different.
So we're not having agendas, we're having standards.
We're having standards. Thank you.
Okay, so this whole let's make this a little bit more clear, because everyone has an agenda. When I go to the grocery store, my agenda is to get food. When I go to the bar, my agenda is either to catch up with friends and fuck bitches, or to go to the bar and fuck bitches. And at the same time, the guys in the club shirts who are just out to get laid. Probably, yeah. You're not one of those. So very often. Exactly. Except last Saturday. Let me kind of go back on this. If I happen to drink a whole bottle of Don Julio, Blanco, like Añejo, the good stuff. The agenda is always to meet people, but it's never. I have to say, I have gone out and said, I'm going to get laid tonight. And so, I think I need to flesh out with you at least. Yeah. So this whole hey, I want to get laid tonight, which I've gone out and been like, I'm going to get laid tonight, and I get laid. But it's not like I'm going to fuck her. That's the point. And when you go into the particular interaction. Treating someone like an object. Right? Object? That's creepy. Okay. You went out with the agenda, I want to get laid. I'm totally there. You're horny. That's cool. You know what's cool? Is horny as a context for going out and having your life. That's cool. Single is a context for having your life. I don't think that's an agenda. I think when you approach a person, an individual, when you go into an interaction, even a group, you're not carrying with you. If your horny is so part of the interaction that they can smell it on your breath. They usually come when I'm talking to someone right away. Like, you can totally see a stain in my pants. That's a trick. Come when you're meeting a girl. You leave the house without condoms on? No, wear a condom when you go out. Do you have any condoms? So if you just kind of are self-possessed about your sexual being, your sexual state, it's integrated. It's not a thing that all of a sudden is like, hey, you know what? This is special for me. This is a big fucking deal that I'm talking to you. I'm going to go fuck somebody. I never think about sex all the fucking time and go and fuck some bitch. Yeah. Right. Instead of like, hey, I can have sex anytime I want. I can call up someone right now. They'll come over. We'll have sex. I like having sex. I love having sex, and sex is part of who I am. Yep. I don't need to meet someone to have sex. Maybe it's the more sex you've had, maybe it's the more opportunities that are available to you at some point. It gets like, it's not that big a deal. There's not that much on the line or riding on this particular interaction. What you're doing is you're saying, hey, you know what? I got a bunch of girls who are chasing after me. When I'm talking to you, Miss Strange New Girl, or interesting new group of people who include some pretty girls who I might be interested in if we click, or couple who I don't know what their deal is. She could be his beard, I don't really know, but I'm chatting you up because I'm the kind of guy who chats people up. If you go in and say, Lee, I'm not desperate and needy, I'm not trying to make something happen here. You're open to a lot of different possibilities, including possibilities like this. You meet someone, you stay in touch with them, maybe as a group, maybe individually. You get to know them a little bit better. It turns out that you have everything in common, and she is seeing a guy who she has grown tired of. And so you get a chance to see each other sort of on one-on-one, and it takes you 3 weeks to finally catch up.
and you wind up having the best affair or getting married and making babies or whatever it is that you really do have as an agenda. Looking for a relationship is an agenda. Getting laid is an agenda. Trying to get married, how many women have you met who just need the groom to wear the suit she's picked out?
Isn't it how funny how people say, when you're not looking for it, it happens. I'm not happy with the fact that like it's basically implying not to do any work.
Yes, that's right.
So when we say don't have an agenda, it doesn't mean don't go read, don't go online, don't go out and meet people, don't go open people.
Clearly.
But it's saying that you're not a fucking magic 8-ball. You're not gonna know the future, but you are going to screen every person you meet. Instead of having an agenda, what should you have?
You should have an agenda, but here's what your agenda should be. Meeting people is okay. Meeting people that are heterosexual is okay. And when I meet a girl who clicks with me, it doesn't matter. Okay. But the people that we're talking about sleeping with, because mostly the pickup community, most gay men don't need a lot of pickup seduction help. And it's funny because I've had a lot of people who've come up to me because I'm in the variety of community settings. It's like, what insights can I learn from pickup? And I say, holy shit, we turn the microscope on to the gay community because they teach us how to cruise.
It's like you said, having an agenda is not bad. As a goal.
To the point.
Life,
to that point. Oh, sorry. Having goals is great. You've got life goals. You want to have a good job. You want to be satisfied in a relationship. You want to be a better lover, a better person. You want bitches bouncing on your dick 24/7. Well, no, so whatever your goals are, God bless you for having goals. This is not to denigrate ambition. And to that point, one of the first things I like to do in coaching is to make sure that anyone who I'm working with understands they have my permission to have shitty getting started goals. Okay, if you don't know how to talk to girls, the first thing you got to do is have the basic goal of some stupid things like talking to 10 girls, just like batting practice. You go and you swing and miss. You give it the old college try.
How is the goal different than an agenda? Because what you're saying right now is totally...
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Well, goals are easy to chunk. An agenda is like this big overarching.
Like, why are agendas so negative? Because I mean, I don't think
it is.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't think it is. I think when you go in with the agenda that is something you want to keep secret, you run the risk of being outed for having this agenda. In other words, if you're like, I want to go out and get laid tonight.
Agendas are not bad if your actions are aligned with them. If I want to fuck somebody and I'm in the bar, and even though I'm going to have a low success rate, I don't recommend this. If I go up to a girl and say, I would like to fuck you, what are you doing later?
I don't think that's a problem. It's like you say, the low success rate, but
low success rate. What I'm saying is, if your actions are aligned with your agenda,
you bet.
You may not have a very high success rate, but you won't be really considered. If anything, you'll be a story for people to talk about the next day, instead of being creepy.
Even as simple as, I want to hang out with you and buy you a drink and chat up your friends. That's misaligned action. What you really want to do is take her home. You want to get her home. There's a certain amount of smooth to it, but when you're that kind of guy who doesn't give a fuck all about her friends, that comes off as being manipulative. The friends are not obstacles. The friends are people who either you give a shit about or you don't. And if you're like, hey, you know what? You got some friends here. You're very attractive. I'd like to be alone with you. Okay. That's not a big deal. If you're like, you know what? You're very attractive. I want to sleep with you. And I really don't know what else is going to happen. I don't care if we see each other again, but you're just this moment, this now, this is great. That's cool too.
You should be okay with your sexuality. You should want to have lots of sex, but you'll have a higher success rate if you just meet people.
The simplest thing you can do when you're meeting people is to say to yourself, I am meeting people and sex is okay. That is the simplest thing to keep in your presence and your awareness at all times, all right? Because you don't go in with a outcome dependency. Okay. That said, I've seen too many guys go in with this like, it's not even a goal. Here's the thing. Here's the nice thing about it. It's not even
before they go in. It's when they're walking around.
That's right.
They're like fucking sharks.
Mercenary, looking like they're about to be a sniper and hit you can have goals, but the goals should be internal directed, not some other people. Goal of talking to a bunch of people, 10 is a very clear and crisp and calculable goal, interactions for the evening. But those are all in order to develop you as a person. They're batting practice. They're to give you muscle memory. They're not to hit balls out of the park.
They're not manipulative.
At all.
Which is what
in other words,
is.
an agenda is trying to get things from people. When you learn your behaviors and you learn, oh wow, my sense of humor is so awkward and deadpan that nobody gets it. One of the things you do is learn when to break out that extremely dry British wit and when to leave it aside, right? So you can only learn that through experience. That's fine. That's great. That's awesome. But when you're going out with an agenda in the way that I don't even think agenda is a bad thing, but if you go out with this, I need this to happen. I'm trying to make this happen. If this doesn't happen, my night's ruined. My experience is wasted. That's where it becomes extremely creepy.
Stayed home and ate Twinkies.
And then what happens is everybody... By the way, can you make Twinkies? Do you have the Twinkie recipe yet?
I want some Twinkies! Man, Twinkies are gone. I can't believe the day has come. The Twinkies are gone. I keep going back to my clients that go up in front of girls and they're just the awkward fucking turtle. And they're just standing there. They don't feel comfortable. They don't know what they're doing. And, you know, practice makes perfect, right? But their intention is just off.
Yeah.
You know, they don't feel comfortable in their situation. And I feel like if you have an intention that doesn't match your actual situation, your reality, then you're going to be outed. And so basically all this is when you go into a situation, you need to flow with the energy. And this is getting theoretical. You need to flow, little David Yeda. You need to flow with your situation. Your energy needs to match the level of your interaction. And it's like, if you're in bed with a girl and you're gonna come and she's nowhere near coming, your energy doesn't match the situation. Same thing when you're interacting with anyone, a friend, at a job, in a coffee shop, at a bar, at a club, on a bus, your parents. If you're fucking wasted talking to your parent, you know what I mean? Like, your energy...
How else do you talk to your parents, by the way?
Your energy your energy needs to complement and flow with your situation.
Yep.
And so that's like the main thing, is that if you're going into a situation, an interaction where you want to fuck someone and all you're talking about is fucking, or all you're giving off is fucking, and the girl's like, what do you do today? What do you do for a living? Like, you're obviously clashing with the energy of the situation, with the actual situation, and you're going to be called out. And it's not going to work.
And that's important because there's a lot of ways to...
We need a sound for epiphany. Seem like a little bell.
Boom. Boom. Angels, but I don't have this. I don't have a falsetto.
We don't have sound
being
effects,
afraid of being outed.
Donate to suavelover.com. No.
Being afraid of being outed. Well, if you're very simply, look, it's okay to be heterosexual. I can own that. I'm out meeting people. I can own that. This is all very wonderful. This is all very good. What I think becomes that weird, creepy vibe is denying or disidentifying or not kind of being congruent. I don't know a better word to use.
It's like, congruent with the situation,
oh, geez, this is just, something is all misaligned. Everybody's got some degree an agenda, goal. I don't want to punish this. It's the being disingenuous. I have dated plenty of girls who think that the 3 hours that they spent getting ready to go out, dressed to the nines, tits to the teeth, doing everything they can to get a male attention is for the girlfriends. And you know what? While to some degree you are trying to show the girls that you are pretty, you are primarily using male interest as a proxy for your value. And if you deny it, you become a creepy chick. There's an agenda. I want dudes to really pay attention to, and you become stuck up. You're a bitch. Exactly. It's very weird. You're out in a very social setting. And look, we're in hookup culture. We're in a commoditized sexual marketplace. That's true. We may not like it, but it's true. So if you don't even get what you're up to, if you're in such denial about the fact that guys, hey, I play guitar in a band or I'm a DJ, you know that is to get his wick waxed. You know that he doesn't spontaneously create music for the love of vinyl. Listen, I think that there are plenty of girls who are out there saying, you know what, I want a good guy. I want to get laid from time to time. Sometimes the two shall meet.
Disclaimer, go have sex. Go have fun. Be a slut, be a hoe, be a fucking gigolo. Do your thing, have fun, but most of all, I don't even want to say to be honest.
I don't
I'll say
say
be congruent with what you want and understand that what you want. Don't get validation from other things and don't feel bad about yourself.
Be reasonably discreet and then feel good about yourself.
Don't break up a home.
That's right.
Don't break up a home.
That's right.
Don't get involved with responsibility.
That's right.
But if you have no responsibilities, be happy, right? Be happy about your life.
I think it's very simple. Yeah. You got this. Please don't anyone discover that I want to have sex with other humans and I like girls. You've got so much weighing on you that you can sense in the interaction something is. I don't want to say creepy. I think the right word for it is disconnected.
As a bartender, I look around and I see all these guys and all these girls. And for some reason, I've never seen a creepy girl in all the years that I've been bartending. Even the fat chicks that are trying to hit on the guys that are out of the league.
Ain't creepy.
I ain't fucking creepy. For some reason, it could be the hottest fucking guy hitting on some girl and he's acting fucking creepy.
Yep.
Body posture, his fucking eyes, how he talks, how he moves.
Yeah.
There's so much intent in everything that he's doing. You can just tell that he's not enjoying his actual moment, his experience. You need to get to the point where you're in your reality, where you're having fun, where you're meeting people, where you're not trying to influence the situation like negatively, where you're incongruent with what the other person wants. Now, if two people both want to fuck each other, that looks amazing. When one person wants to fuck and the other person doesn't,
yeah,
it looks creepy.
Yep.
And women got it down, man. So just pay attention and lose the agenda, set goals for yourself, and go with the flow. Which, of course, is the rate at which her period blood is leaking. So the greater the flow, the creepier the conversation. Did you know that women call their period, guys, FYI, Shark Week?
I am so old. I did not.
You know this?
It's
you know
just
this?
Not.
You know?
God, if it lasted a week, I'd kill her.
But yes or no? You know what I'm talking about?
That's one to grow on?
Women call their period nowadays Shark Week.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mainstream info right here, pop culture.
I have red towels for a reason. It's not a big deal, but it's like, I don't really want that up in my face.
Green towels, is that bad?
Gray?
What is green?
Green?
What is she?
Red and green makes purple? I don't know what that does. Huh? That sounds like Christmas. And you, as a practicing non-Christian, have really kind of a...
Nice specification.
You have been listening to the Suave Lover podcast. Visit suavelover.com to become the kind of man that women crave.